Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. The Mishnah Yomi is now beginning the 5th chapter in Maaser Sheni, and we're actually going to turn to the topic of Kerem Revai, 4th year produce. And this chapter also discusses Vidui Maaser, which we'll cover later in quite a lot of detail for Mishnayot about the sort of the confession that Maaserot have been properly taken. Great, so let's start in with Mishnah Aleph. Kerem Revai. Literally a 4th year vineyard. Now, vineyard is lav davka. There's a Gemara in Brachot Lamed Hey that says, hey, this Mishnah is not just Kerem Revai, but it's Neta Revai with Nun Tet Ayin. And Neta just means planting or sapling, any tree. So really these halachot are lav davka, not only for a kerem, which is a vineyard, but a neta also, which is any saplings, any trees. So 4th year trees. Now recall the first 3 years are orla, and they're aser behana. Now the 4th year, the trees, the fruit of these trees, the produce has a special status, which we're going to see is very similar to Maaser Sheni, which is why the halachot of Kerem Revai and Neta Revai are put here with Maaser Sheni. So Kerem Revai. So while it's growing, in the 4th year, while it's growing, mitzainin oto bekozazot adama. We mark these trees, we mark these orchards, these vineyards off with sort of clumps of dirt. So around the edges, they would put dirt. And the Bartender explains why clumps of dirt, because dirt is useless right now, but it's going to become useful by growing fruit. So too, the Kerem Revai is aser right now, but when you bring it to Yerushalaim or you're podeh it, similar again to Maaser Sheni, it's mutter and it's usable behana. You can eat it and get benefit. Mishnah continues, shel orla b'charsit. You mark fields that are orla, that are the first 3 years of trees, with charsit, which is clay. Like we've heard of a kli cheres, is it earthenware, pottery kind of utensils. So charsit is clay. And the Bartender again explains because clay, you can't plant in it. You're not really going to get anything out of it. So just like clay doesn't give you any benefit, so too the orla is aser behana. You cannot use it. V'shel kavarot, and graves, human graves, besid. You mark that with sid, with some sort of, it's really a white plaster. It's called lime. Lime is not the limes that grow on a tree. No, it's not the fruit. Lime is sort of a chemical compound. I think it's calcium carbonate off the top of my head. I hope that my listeners will correct me if I'm wrong, but this lime is this white, rocky chemical mixture that they would pour on it to mark it. Again, the Bartender explains it's white because bones are white and you're marking graves. Memoche v'shofech. So you dissolve the lime, this mineral, in the water, and you pour it around the grave to mark it. When do you have to mark off your orla and your revai? On the 7th year. The Bartender explains, like we learned in the Mishnah Shvi, shekol hefker, notlin beheter. So everyone's going into each other's fields and taking the hefker produce on the 7th year, the sabbatical year, the Shvi'it. So you need to be concerned that they don't take something that's aser behana, like orla and revai, so you have to make these markings. But on a normal year, according to Rav ben Gamliel, we're not concerned. People are going to go into your field, and basically that would be stealing. And if so, the Bartender says, halitehu l'rasha v'yamus. There's no great English translation for this phrase, halitehu l'rasha v'yamus, but it basically means let him, let the rasha choke on his own crime, on the fruits of his own sin. So he would hold that you don't need to mark in normal years. The Mishnah continues, hatsunuim, those who are modest, and in this sense it means very careful with the mitzvah, manichin et hamaut v'omrim, they set aside money, and they say, kol anil kat mizeh, any produce that might be picked, by accident from this revai, yehe mechulol al malot elu, it should be in advance deconsecrated onto these coins. So in that way, if somebody accidentally picks from the orchard of revai, it's already deconsecrated and they're not doing an avera. Mishnah Beis, Kerem Revai, Haya Ole Yerushalaim. It goes to Yerushalaim, again like Maaser Sheni, Mehalach Yom Echad Lekol Tzad. So anywhere in 1 day's travel. Now, machalach is an interesting word because machalach really typically means holech is traveling on your feet, but it could probably include animals that are traveling on your feet. It probably does not include things like airplanes and cars. We use a different verb for that. We use nosea or latus, So machalach is like by means of normal conveyance, a 1 day's distance. What it means is if your Revai is within 1 day's travel to Yerushalaim, you can't redeem it onto money. You have to bring it to Yerushalaim as is. The Bartner explains this is not deraisa, this is din derabanan, and the purpose was kedei la'ater shuk Yerushalaim bepeirut, so that the shukim plural here, and that time, were full of peirot. So if everybody within a 1 day's travel to Yerushalaim is bringing their peirot, instead of redeeming them and bringing money, there's going to be peirot available there to buy when everyone else shows up with their money. Ve'ezahi tchuma, and what's the tchum? We've heard of tchum Shabbos, so here's the tchum of the 1 day travel to Yerushalayim to bring in your Revai. Eilath min hadarom, this is not Eilat at the far south, this is a different city. Ve'akrabat min tzafon, and a different city from Tzafon. Lod min ma'arav, Lod to the west, Lod is near the Ben Gurion airport today. Yarden min mizrach, and the Yarden River to the east. Umisharabu perot, and once there were a lot of perot available, hitkinu, they made another establishment, another rabbinical decree, shiahei nifte samach lachama, that you could even redeem the Revai produce onto money, even near the wall of Yerushalayim itself. Utanai haya hadavar, and this was on condition, she'ematai sheyirtzu, that when the sages wanted, when there was a need, yachzor davar lechamot shachaya, they could return the halachic situation to what it was before, that the Mishnah originally taught. Everyone within a 1 day's mahalach to Yerushalayim could not redeem it, but had to bring the fruits to Yerushalayim, le'ater shukei Yerushalayim perot, to crown the marketplaces of Jerusalem with all of these perot. Rabbi Yossi is a different explanation. Mishachar of Beis Hamikdash, hayatanayazeh, that before the Churban, the takana was within a day's mahalach, you had to bring the fruit, you couldn't redeem it. But after the Churban, there was no necessity. The Nebuch, the Romans were running the show in Yerushalayim, and there's no need to bring them extra perot. Utanai haya, and the condition was a matai sheyabane Beis Hamikdash, that when the Beis Hamikdash is rebuilt, b'mhera v'yameinu yachzor davar lekamosha chaya, the matter will return to how it was. And then everyone within a 1 day's journey, a 1 day's mahalach to Yerushalayim, will not be allowed by rabbinical decree to redeem their Revai onto money and bring that. Instead, they have to bring the crops themselves to Yerushalayim to fulfill the mitzvah of Revai. Now, Rabbosai, since I love all of you, I want to give you fantastic real estate advice. It's kedai right now to try to buy land within a 1 day's mahalach of Yerushalayim, so that when we have our Beis Hamikdash, it's coming up very soon, you're going to be able to fulfill this decree derabanan, to bring your fruits themselves into the marketplaces of Yerushalayim. You heard it here first, Revai. Shkoyach, be well.